vulnerable.
And that is a form of severe weather, is flooding, even though when we say severe, you think more wind gusts, like in Beckham, Oklahoma, where we had gusts 284 miles an hour. That was in this cluster of reports. We also had a tornado report into Tulsa County here. Several tornado reports, I would say, about 24 just over the last couple of days across the country, thanks in part to the upper level energy. You see it's kind of stretched out here, and the strong winds, not only at the jet level, but also that low level jet's been playing a role. But these are some of your mid to upper level winds coming up, by the way, and over into the northeast. And that's why we have had this large portion of real estate impacted by the severe weather, because we have high pressure off to the east, and all of the wind and all the energy is going on the west side of that high and up and over it into the northeast. Few thunderstorms this morning. We had a severe thunderstorm warning with our cells down towards San Antonio. A little bit earlier today, we are expecting to see more severe thunderstorms fire up today. Some of those could produce hail 2 inches or more in diameter. Of course, we do have that dry line that is still setting up for us here into Texas and Oklahoma. There are going to be very strong storms ahead of that, thanks in part to the lift that we have in the atmosphere and also the spin we have in the atmosphere, that upper level energy that I mentioned, the surface features, the jet energy, all of it is going to come in and make things quite explosive. So today there is a Torcon of 4. Remember, the last couple of days we've had 4 and 5s. So you can get plenty of tornadoes, even with 4 and 5s. Keep that in mind. And of course, if one goes over your house, it feels like it's 1,000, right? There is your southerly flow. As you look at the surface, go up 18,000 feet. The winds are going to shift a little bit. And of course, they are going to get stronger too as we go higher up in the atmosphere with some less friction. So there are tornado parameters, and these take in consideration the lift and the spin that's happening in the atmosphere. And notice around 3 o'clock, we really get going with some of those storms, and our tornado parameter comes really back around 6 o'clock. And that's when you're going to see some of those stronger thunderstorms develop, and they will continue as we head into the overnight. Even that right there, you're going to have strong winds blowing in with that little curvature on the radar. It's a little outflow kind of pushing out, and that could give you some strong winds. Sometimes the winds are strong enough to mimic a EF0, EF1 tornado. But Oklahoma City, be on alert. A 4 here, damaging winds. I feel like, Jim, things are starting to rev up as we get through April and then, of course, May, which is typically our most severe month.
Right, that whole I-44 corridor
May to June, about, a month and a half until our hurricane season begins. Of course, that means that it is summertime and people will be traveling. And right now, a lot of people not doing loads of travel. Spring break has really wound down. A lot of kids getting ready for proms and the end of school. But if you are doing any traveling, hopefully it'll be on the light side, because you don't have summertime rush going on right now. You could have some delays here, especially if there are thunderstorms in these major cities, and even in between the major cities. If you got bumps or if planes have to kind of go around a thunderstorm to get into a city, that can sometimes slow things down. But I feel like they put so much time now into these flights that the flight's really only an hour and a half, but they make it like a 3-hour flight, so that they get you there early and they can brag about that, and also that you're not technically getting in late. There's a look at where we could have the impacts today. The Midwest, we could have those thunderstorms rumbling through, hail, gusty winds. We cannot rule out a tornado along several highways here that we've been watching through the last couple of days. 55, 90, 70, 35, even 65 there through Indianapolis. Chicago, showers, thunderstorms are going to be coming in waves on and off. So we could have some issues at Chicago like we've had over the past couple of days at the airport there. Then we will also see more waves of storms along our dry line here throughout parts of the southern plains. And one thing fueling all this, Jordan, is the heat.
Yes, and we've got some big headlines that come throughout the day today. Steph?
Let's talk about our severe timing, because as we go through the day, I know Jordan showed you there's some rain and clouds, but things get a lot more intense as we head through the afternoon into Iowa. We have a Torcon of 4 here into Des Moines. Dubuque was 88 miles an hour yesterday at the airport with some of our wind gusts here. That was the highest wind gust that we saw yesterday. And we will see everything continue to develop as we head throughout the day. Showers, thunderstorms, they go through the afternoon hours and as we head on into the evening hours too. These are some of the gnarly ones here. You can see the strong winds blowing those storms off to the north and east for us here. Those could put out the wind, they could put out the hail, and you can't rule out a tornado. In and around Chicago, we get our first wave, a little bit of a break. Don't let it fool you, because we have a couple more rounds that are going to get through not only into the afternoon, but also as we head into the evening. So it's going to be a little wet and stormy out there for the time being. Milwaukee, poor, Wisconsin. I feel like south of 94, we have seen so many reports of strong winds, big hail, 2-3 inches. And of course, we had a lot of tornado reports over the last couple of days. Majority of that bad weather is going to be north of 94 as we go into the evening hours. Hopefully this rain will just lull you to sleep and not cause any damage or problems. But boy, has the flooding been an issue, especially into Michigan. We have seen twice our month's worth of rain in some locations here for us here or close to it, with 5 to Green Bay, near 8 inches of rain. And so there's been a lot of flood reports, a lot of heavy rain reports for us here. And we are going to see more rain that's going to come. And we've actually had some dams that had to release some water so that things would basically calm down because it's been so much. Snow cover is basically obsolete, with the exception of the UP of Michigan, where we have our second snowiest winter on record. But of course, with all the snowfall, everything draining south, that means some of these rivers are out of their banks and several are in major flood stage and will take time to get out of flood stage. Here into Michigan, we have a river that is out of flood stage that will not go below its record until Friday, which it's broken here. And there it is for you, the Manistee River in Sherman. So, Jim, it's not until really Friday when we get below just our record.
Crazy stuff. Well, I'll take a little bit of that water, if you will.
Good morning, everybody. Check this out. We're talking nearly 50 million people at risk. Great Lakes all the way down through Texas. Oh, boy. This is America's Morning Headquarters. Meteorologist Jordan Steele, alongside meteorologist Jim Cantori and Stephanie Abrams.
All right, guys, all hazards in play here. The 13Z update is out now, and they really haven't moved all that much. But that means large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes still possible in these areas, which we will define for you. Our Torcon at a 4 today across Iowa. Remember, the greater the number, the greater the threat, but that doesn't mean that we won't have tornadoes, right, Steph?
Yeah. No, I mean, we've had 4 and 5s the last few days, and there's been over a couple dozen tornadoes.
Right.
One of the things that you have to remember is that we're going to get rounds and rounds of this rough weather, packing the same threats across the same areas. By the way, as we head into our Friday, that is a new system that's going to give us a bit of a pattern change. You do need to be on alert through the weekend to make sure you know your safe place at home and also as you head out the door.
All right, so we can't get rid of the storms, as Steph's mentioning here. We also can't get rid of the heat, at least for a moment. These storms will definitely help out by the time the new week rolls around, but 80s, 90s, 100-year-old records will go by the wayside today. I mean, we have a lot of July temperatures out there.
Mid-July
and it's a dry
like,
heat for the east. That's what's weird.
Meanwhile, I talked to my sister yesterday. She goes, oh, my gosh, the temperatures cool down in Phoenix so much. We can go outside again. So a complete flip-flop across the country.
That's true.
Which